I work for IGEL. My name's Gordon Cass. I'm one of the senior pre-sales engineers for healthcare for not only the UK and I, but also Asia Pac, and pretty much whenever they need me, I go over to Europe as well. So kind of a bit of a dog's body when it comes to healthcare. But yeah, I mean, this presentation is all about sort of like fortifying the edge, our approach, or IGEL's approach to sort of like endpoint security. This is a quick model of sort of like the integrated security principles for IGEL. On the left-hand side, as you can tell, there's a couple of buckets there. On the right-hand side, we've decided to kind of replace the whole monitor, detect, remediate, rather with a sort of like a view to prevention, and hence the reason where the IGEL preventative security model comes from. IGEL has no local data ever stored on it. It's read-only. We have a trusted application platform in terms of when the device boots up. Each sector's inspected. We inspect the cryptography of each sector. The minute that we feel that sort of like it's been manipulated, the device will literally reboot, which then goes back to a last known good config, the typical one that we hear about Windows. We keep a copy of our operating system in a secure vault within the device. So if there has been any manipulation that takes place, we can easily just reboot that and go back to the original, the way it was booted up. It's basically, there's no persistence. All our data is encrypted on the actual device, as well as having some, our operating system is very modular now. We've gone from a huge monolithic operating system to very modular, similar to the way your mobile phone works. You have a base operating system, and then you go into the App Store and you download the applications that you want to install on that particular device. So only the applications that you decide as the management or as the company, you then install just those clients that you require. What is security? So security is sort of like the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability. Basically making sure that the data that you have shared is only shared with the individual or the party that you want to share it with. Making sure that no unauthorized access takes place. Making sure that sort of like the data that you have shared doesn't unintentionally get changed. And making sure that sort of like if it is changed, that you actually that you detect that there has been some change happening there. And most importantly, it works. So in making sure that it works when the party or you actually need it. And then also, if it does fail, like I said in the beginning, it recovers quickly. Like with IGEL, just reboot it. Security has got an Achilles heel. There's low price, high security, or usability. If you decide to, and you can only have two of these aspects. If you decide that you're only going to go for sort of like a low price and high security, generally it's not you find that it's not going to be usable. It's generally open source, like for instance a firewall. You can download it for free, but you probably need a college degree in order to sort of like to install it and to maintain it. You can go for the other aspect, which is a low price and a usable product. Again, it's easy to use, it's probably free, it's not very secure though, to implement, and it's not very high quality. However, if you go for the high security and usable, this is generally a professional product. The reason why it's going to cost you money is because that it has taken a lot of time to do R&D on the particular product. Everybody's seen movies of hackers. I mean, I don't know if I quite like movies, and so like generally what you see is these clean rooms, people tapping away on a keyboard, and you see there's lines of code that mean nothing to you, and then all of a sudden you hear someone go, "I'm in," and then everybody high fives, and then everybody crowds around the screen to watch the man work. And I'm sorry, 99.7% of the time it doesn't happen like that. The way these hackers work is generally they target users. And the ways that they target users is exploitation, is misleading, or for that matter, deception. It could be a fake website that someone clicks on the link and all of a sudden phishing or malware gets installed. It could be stealing users' credentials. Unfortunately, I have been victim to that. Or there's inserting malware into an email where a user will think that they're getting a bill or an invoice or something like that. They think it's a PDF, and the next thing that they know, it's all of a sudden they've double-clicked on that, and that's installed some malware, created a misconfiguration, and then it just starts spreading. And this is where I'm going to take the IGEL's security preventative security model and just explain to you kind of these user interactions. So to prevent malicious attacks, we prevent malicious attacks using sort of like user interaction. We have to make sure that we have some user boundaries, so that you can't, a hacker cannot do anything if they don't have permission to that particular operating system. They cannot insert malicious code if there's a low attack surface. These are the principles that were on the first page again. Sorry. And if and making sure sort of like that every single vulnerability has been patched. They cannot execute malicious code or insert malware if there is a movement containment, like for instance, if they have no permission on the system and it's read-only, like for instance, IGEL OS. It is also very difficult to have misconfigurations if you have managed config. With our management solution, it manages your configs and it deploys them to the end user. The end user has no access to that. And making sure that using the UMS, it is easy to remediate any software vulnerabilities that have and updated in time. And with a system like IGEL OS, if it for goodness sake actually does fail, it's easy to recover, and it's easy to recover quickly. Let's face it, there's always going to be hackers, but if the system is always patched on time, then unfortunately the impact if it is patched on time is going to be minimal. It's going to be very, very low. If you don't have root access to the operating system, the attackers can't take over it. However, security is not something that we can address totally. It is a shared responsibility. For instance, the gold is IGEL's responsibility, and the blue and the purple is the customer's responsibility. We know that our product is extremely secure, whether it be just the endpoint or, for that matter, the management solution like ICG. We start getting into the UMS, our management solution. The UMS itself is secure, however, it still sits on the customer server. So it becomes the customer's responsibility to make sure that that server is patched for all vulnerabilities. Again, we have no bearing on the VDI itself. Again, that is the customer's responsibility. And at the end of the day, the goal is for these attackers, is to get the data. Understanding zero trust. Zero trust is more a principle or a framework for the entire infrastructure, which means every single resource that is accessed of any kind is continuously and consistently authenticated, authorized, and validated. We, as a vendor of zero trust solutions, we can only provide so much assistance. We can provide assistance when it comes to users, we can provide assistance when it comes to devices, and a little bit of the data. But unfortunately, again, as we move further right, it does become part of the customer's responsibility. We provide the encryption and the integrity for the users and the devices. But again, like I say, we then start leaning upon the customer's responsibility for the rest of the infrastructure and environment. IGEL, as a security partner, we do a lot of R&D. We have a secure software development lifecycle. We have secure guidelines when it comes to that, code analysis and reviews. We also do external penetration testing on our product to make sure that that we are secure every single year. We have a separated development environment that we utilize with regular scans, intrusion detection, as well as monitoring. And as you can see on the right-hand side there, we're certified to 27001, and end of this year, beginning of next year, will be FIPS and SOC 2, which I think is utilized in the US. Please excuse this slide. I didn't like the little image on the right-hand side. I was told I had to use it. IGEL is the best secure operating system with effective security capabilities, with the best management solution for security operations which are focused on customer data security. And at the end of the day, especially in my sector, it's the data that is extremely important for especially patient data. We've got an experienced security team that maintains and secures the operating system. And let's face it, we didn't invent security. What we did is we took Linux heritage and we improved upon it. When an attacker compromises an infrastructure, it uses a connection and generally starts a resource on that particular device. IGEL is secure to the point that there's generally no browser, usually the way in. There are no tools that are on the endpoint at all. There's no write permission whatsoever. There's no management like tools available, and nor is there any programming interfaces. We don't have a terminal available on the device as well. So essentially, with no data, with no permission, with no persistence, unlike Windows, when you reboot IGEL, it generally comes back to the last known good configuration. Again, we get to pretty much a non-persistent state. And if I'm upstairs, by the way, if any of you want to have a chat about it, I'd be more than happy to have a chat. Any questions at all? With that, I'll leave you, and I'd wish you a happy day. Thanks very much, guys.